So that's cool. Welcome back to WRFL Talks show, though, where I, your host, John Burke, bring in a brand new guest
Each and every week.
each and every week. Though maybe that's not so true this time.
Well, it's kind of true.
Yeah, double take.
I believe that the last time that I was here, it was last semester, and we talked about my solo show. My name is Trevor Whatever, for those of you who may not have heard my voice
Hi, Trey.
over the airwaves, but in real life, typically I go by Trey, or whatever people wish to call me. So most of the time it's Trey.
Usually Trey, and we have him joined doubly this time with Cassini.
Yeah, DJ Cas 9. How are you?
DJ Cas 9.
Normally go by Cas or Cassini. I run the heavy set with my boy Trey here.
Hello.
Oh, this is beautiful. The heavy set here on this show, so beautifully. What time is your show, fellas?
So we do our show every other Saturday from midnight to 2 a.m. So that's Friday nights / Saturdays. It's a little strange, but we keep it moving. It's a nice little thing. So Cass actually started the show over the summer of last year.
Yeah,
and,
Wednesday 4 to 6 over the summer schedule.
Wow.
And later on, we moved to Safe Harbor, and it kind of made us a bit able to flex our muscles a little bit more, because a lot of the stuff that we play is obscure, underground, sort of electronic music types of stuff.
Yeah.
And a lot of that doesn't exactly have lyrics and stuff that's safe for work all the time. So
I'm sure that I'm sure that it also fits better with just the vibe of your music to have it as such late at night. Are you guys night owls? Would you say?
Oh, absolutely.
Definitely. And if you're listening to our show, if you're up at that point, our show's going to keep you up.
Yeah. I can't remember the last time that I had a weekend that ended with its Friday or Saturday at a time no earlier than like 2 a.m. at the earliest,
Yeah.
Man, you guys must be party animals.
Yeah, I wouldn't go that far.
You'd be surprised. I went to my first rave at an anime convention
Yes.
recently, and so I mean, we play stuff that makes us sound cooler than we are, maybe.
Yeah,
Just maybe.
I'm in addition to being a host of multiple shows on this station, I am also in charge of our electronic music rotation here at WRFL.
Do you take that on with Cass as well?
Are
you tandem that yet?
Cass helps me out, but it's a position that I actually share with Seth, who is the host of Human Music on Fridays.
Yes,
and
before us
is also our programming director here. I gotta figure out our names. And
All the
everything.
prods and progs.
I've been here for a year, and somehow I don't have everything straight.
I
Anyway,
still call myself programming director, and I haven't been in that position for a hot minute.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I still call myself production director.
but yeah, so one of the albums that I reviewed, Wheathen's Life of a Wallflower, actually mentions in his interviews and stuff, he's talked about how even though he's this super cool DJ type that produces stuff that would be played at cool parties and everything, he would never be the type of person that would actually be invited to the types of parties that his music would be
that he's
played
DJing
at,
for.
Yeah.
Big
Yeah.
same though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you guys want to DJ those kinds of parties?
I feel like I already have at this point. I do some kinds of every now and then I'll
Hop on Aux.
take the show on the road and actually do some of the same sorts of stuff that you'd hear on my shows and actually do it for a live audience. It's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Listening to the heavy set and you think, wow, this is really good. Like everything's fading into what it needs to and it sounds professional. Mm-hmm. That's Trey.
Aw.
It's great. And so he lends an air of professionalism and competence that I may have not brought to the party at first. So he's
How long have you been a DJ, Cass?
Since this time last year.
Okay.
I did a show with a person and it was it was really really bad. It was supposed to make fun of drive time shock jock radio with soundboards, toilet flushes, fart sounds, all the whole shebang. Very very bad show, and not in the least because my co-host was just no charisma or anything. I mean, I don't want to dunk on him too hard. I don't mean charisma. There's no like magic between the two of us that led to any kind of comedy.
Gotcha.
We could call it comedy, but it was us just yelling and improvising and hoping something would stick. It was really bad. I'm glad that that's no longer
what you're
operating.
doing.
Yeah, and I'm glad that I'm into music now, especially a genre that I feel is a little bit underrepresented here. I remember whenever I started the heavy set, I got a call from, I think it was Brandon Boker, who does Serious Moonlight.
Yeah.
And he says, I really like that you're playing a heavy show, a show that has heavy in the title that's not metal.
Yeah.
As you're probably the only show that's doing that. And I was like, thanks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the stuff that we play is interesting because I try really hard to differentiate the kinds of stuff that I would reserve exclusively for the heavy set as opposed to my regular show, Whatever Works, which I host solo and has recently sort of taken a turn more towards I don't want to call it mainstream electronic music because it's not, but the types of stuff that is like perhaps a bit more accessible, whereas heavyset is more that kind of stuff that is going to punch you in the face with how hard and how aggressive and strangely beautiful it is. There's a certain charm to the stuff that isn't afraid to so Whatever Works is the type of stuff that will hold your hand, whereas heavyset will deck you in the face.
It's like a bunny
great.
slope versus a black diamond. Sort
Yeah.
of deal. And it's like, I feel like what plays on the heavy set, it's not always just like dubstep. There's industrial. Sometimes we play niche sort of, I kind of lean into an industrial sort of hard style bent at times. And I feel like there's, I don't want to say more depth, but there's a lot of depth to explore there.
Yeah.
And you'd still all call it electronic music.
Yeah, that's the unifying thread, I believe, as far as everything that we like. Cass and I are interesting because we have pretty different music tastes, but there's enough overlap where I can show them something and be like, "Hey, this is a thing I think you would enjoy," and
you're able to
almost
collaborate.
always like it.
yeah, and vice versa.
That's incredible. Have you guys been friends and like partners in crime for very long? Do you feel, or at least do you feel in sync with each other in terms of everything else going?
So I think that the first thing I remember us being, we were in a class together about 2 semesters ago, I want to say, so about a year. And it was interesting because we kind of rolled in different circles within RFL, but only after talking a bit, like, and
Passing each other by and such. Yes.
Bonding over shared music in
What
our
class was that, by the way?
It was John Clark's telecommunications class, I believe.
Classic.
201.
Yeah.
Classic.
But yeah, it was only after having that like shared exposure to some of the same stuff and everything. I think it might have actually been, I mentioned that I produce music and everything, which I won't talk about too much. But the whole that I think that was the thing that we kind of were like, hey, this is a thing that both of us are interested in doing.
We both like to produce on sort of, I've fallen off for a while, but
Yeah.
it's just a thing that I find a lot of fun, and he does too. And we both sort of take inspiration from, electronic music and dubstep and what have you.
Well, sorry, friend. We'll get back to your call a little later. But that's fascinating, gentlemen. I think people being able to come together over a shared sense of music is always what WRFL has been about. I think you guys are coming together very well.
Yeah, every show
Yeah.
gets better.
Yeah, one of my favorite memories in relation to the show, actually, it wasn't even while I was hosting it, per se. Over the summer, I live in North Carolina, And one of the things that I like to do while I'm back home is listen to WRFL because, of course, I want to kind of keep a sort of a
keep a tab
relationship,
on it.
yeah, a
Yeah.
relationship going with my home away from home.
Yeah.
And so when I was listening one day, I was in my my little sister's gym class, like. She's a gymnast, and like it's nice to support her and everything, but you know when it can get a little boring every now and then. So like I was listening to the radio and Cass was on, and I called in with a request, and I adopted this sort of really kind of monotone robotic voice just because my whole thing at the station that I have adopted as an in-joke is the fact that I am actually a robot. So yeah.
Real robot Trey.
And-
I
You're
do
able to-
remember that.
Are you feeling like you're able to robo down with him, Cass?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Turn on that robotic personality, and you're just rapport.
Yeah.
Rapport.
Turn on
Yeah.
that robot personality.
Yeah. It's great because Cass is one of the kindred spirits I feel at the station that would be able to actually like adopt that sort of thing. Like I think the request that I made, they were like, and this one is for like some model number. I can't remember what it was
Yeah.
you came up with for me, but model TR3 or something to
Yeah.
that effect. It was
I
it was
remember.
brilliant. Yeah.
Was that over the summer?
Yeah.
Yeah, whenever the heavy set just started.
Yeah.
It's it's really impressive to see such a profound union, friends. Do you see a lot of other duo teams on WRFL and think that y'all could collaborate with another duo like that?
Maybe like as sort of a synergy, but not music wise. I feel like there's a bit of a dearth of electronic shows. Just not enough on the station. It isn't a bad thing. Not everybody's speed, and obviously the best part about WRFL is that it plays about 1 billion different genres every day.
Heck yeah.
But as far as like, I've seen teams of like, oh gosh, who does it? I've seen Matt Clark and
Foddy?
Foddy.
Yeah.
Question
they-
mark? Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe so. That
They do
work
things
together.
that
Yeah.
sounds correct.
Trout and Foddy do
Trout
things
and Foddy.
together.
They come in and do stuff together, but they often spin like actual vinyl, which I wish we could do, but there's not much dubstep vinyl out there.
Are you sure? I feel like they could have like their stuff pressed, or they
I
have
haven't
before.
gotten the chance to build my vinyl collection yet. We'll say it like that. I actually really want to get myself a record player, but I haven't gotten the chance to yet.
Would
I
you be interested in live mixing with the vinyl?
Gosh, that
Yeah.
sounds like it would be rather intense, but you know, I'm kind of already like sort of familiar with the ins and outs of it, so I don't know. Possibly, we might
Do that
experiment
someday.
with that.
Yeah, definitely.
Although, like, I don't know if it would necessarily be something that I'll be able to do while I'm here. Is the
Yeah.
big thing. My time is limited. I'm only here till like May, and then I'm gone because graduation and stuff. But yeah,
Be still my
Cass will
beating
be
heart.
here to hold down the fort in my absence, though.
You'll have one more year of me.
Yeah.
You will.
You'll be
You'll-
blighted by my existence for yet another series of months.
It's sad that that's going to be the case, Trey. That you're going to be graduating soon, and we're going to lose a multi-faceted DJ, a multi-show DJ. It's
I'm flattered.
as well as one of the directors, and it's it's a passing of the times.
I wear so many hats at RFL. It's because like I put a lot of pride into the work that I'm able to do here. It's the so it's interesting. I found that in the absence of doing like Greek life or something of that nature, RFL has kind of provided me with that same sort of camaraderie and like quote unquote experience of partying and
Yeah.
like becoming like part of the culture or whatever. I feel like RFL has that in a way that makes more sense for the type of person I am and the kind of things that I'm interested in. So, yeah.
Do you feel the same way, Cass?
Yeah. Until I was hired on for programming director, I don't have many memories of college at all. It's just kind of like gray static. Yeah, for the first 2.5 years that I was here, I just like feel like it didn't exist. Then I it sounds really pitiful. No, but then I came here and I don't know, I've just feel like I'm a part of something that I can really enjoy.
Yeah.
And learn, know these people that are really great folks, and I can put my trust in them, and you get that sort of camaraderie, and it's just a totally different thing than anything else I've done at college.
Yeah.
Both in the fact that we are being DJs, and there are not many other radios on campus, I've been led to believe, and just because of the way that we run and how everybody just acts with one another. It's really nice. Mm-hmm. And that's why it sounds so good. Tre hooks in on the other side of the bar, and I keep volume levels looking good and usually bump to whatever he's dancing to because he dances the whole time.
He dances very good.
It's a pretty fun time. Yeah,
It's a fun time.
we like to occasionally, every now and then, our mutual friend Wes likes to come and visit us, and sometimes when they're in, we kind of diverge from the format and play throwback jams and just some random stuff every now and then to keep people on their toes. But in general, the vibe is very much whatever we are, what we're feeling on that night is.
You could say it's whatever works.
Oh gosh. Tune in on Fridays from 12 to 2
It is like
p.m.
not nearly as structured as it might seem. As in, like, this is one of the first weeks for this week's heavy set. This is one of the first weeks where we actually sat down and started thinking up a playlist, because this week we want to kind of annihilate your speakers.
Yeah.
It's just the theme of this
Constant.
week is like
Constant
absolute,
annihilation.
constant, loud.
They will be broken by the end of the set.
Fingers
Be warned.
crossed.
Fingers crossed. And this is the first. I mean, we've had themes, but we've never actually had a set list. So, kind of trying something new here. We're pulling up a set list with actual track names and times associated with them. It's a lot of work, so y'all better be grateful.
You better call in and tell them how much you love your speakers being destroyed when you listen in.
We can fit
really.
in a request if it works. I have gotten some good requests. Like somebody would come in and say, "Hey, I love what you're doing. Can I request this?" And sometimes they'll request something like folksy, and it's like, well, that's like
doesn't really
a
fit
bit
the
of a
show.
train wreck of a vibe here. It's a good song, but does not fit. And then another time somebody would come in with a song and it's like, "Hey, play this. I promise it'll fit." And I'm like, "I'll take your word for it."
Yeah.
And I do, and it turns out to be really good. And then I save it for my personal use because it's just that good.
Yeah.
Those are the
I
best
love
moments.
Yeah, when it still fits your vibe, even though it's not fitting the vibe of your show.
And then you get callers like the one that asked me to play a song from his friend. So I mean, I love taking requests. I love getting calls, and I love talking to my listeners. I love knowing that I have listeners. I think that's the big thing. Is if I get a caller, I know somebody's listening, and I need to get my act together.
Yeah. Yeah.
But this specific caller was very, very inebriated. This was on a week where Tre was at home in Raleigh during winter break. I think it was the third or fourth week. And he calls in and he says, "I need you
I
to
left
play."
him to the wolves.
You left me. I didn't even have your help. This guy calls in. He's like, "Can you play a song by my friend?" And I'm like, "I'll try." He names a song. I play it, and it's truly, maddeningly, achingly awful every second. It was like dueling banjos layered onto MIDI loops of tracks, and it was he told me these words. He said Appalachian folk step, and I'm like, all right, I'll play it.
Appalachian folk.
I thought
yes.
it was going to be something
check,
interesting.
step.
It's going to take a little bit of doing to make that work, and it didn't. It was really bad. And then that friend's friend got on with like a fiddle, just like an old style fiddle, on top of this bizarre beat, and started fiddling on top of him. Like any other context, this fiddle would be very good.
I thought you were saying that the drunk guy's friend called over the air and started playing the fiddle while talking to you on the phone and
That
just
would've
being like,
been-
listen to this.
That
This
would
is
have been a good call, actually, instead of the bad one that I got. That would have been really. If you feel like calling in and playing fiddle for me on the heavy set, I will gladly oblige you.
Yeah, same.
It'll be a perfect rendition.